Let's start off this module by looking at e-commerce and Amazon as a whole. I don't know about you guys, but if I rewind to really just like 5 years ago, I didn't order many of my purchases from Amazon or from online. Not that long ago, just like 5 years ago, most of my shopping happened in a store. And then Amazon released Prime and it got good. I could get anything within 2 days and they had an amazing selection, the best prices. Fast forward to today, like 99% of my household's purchases come from Amazon. And I think the majority of you watching this right now, you would have a similar story to that. It's absolutely incredible what Amazon has done in a relatively short period of time. The thing that is very surprising to me though, is that the overall percentage of e-commerce sales from retail sales as a whole is still pretty small in the US, and I know in a lot of the rest of the world as well. I ran across this statistic just a few months ago, and this really shocked me that even though it's growing extremely fast, only about 10% of retail sales happen on e-commerce. So for me, it's like, oh my gosh, like 99% of my sales are purchases made online. Like, what the heck are these other 90% of people doing? Why aren't they doing that? You read into a little bit more, and it's, of course, there's a lot of different like demographics in the US, and different people in different areas, a little bit slower to change. But what's cool about this is it's such a big opportunity right now, and we're literally just getting started. It's still only 10% of retail sales happen online. But as you saw from this graph, it's growing extremely quickly, which to me makes it a very, very exciting space to get involved with. This is exactly the type of opportunity that I would want to get involved with. So e-commerce as a whole, growing very quickly, but still quite small. And then if we look at Amazon as a whole, each year, they are taking over more and more of the e-commerce share in the United States, and I think we'd see similar graphs worldwide. So this is really interesting that just back in 2016, Amazon only made up about 34% of total share of e-commerce sales. In 2019, 45%, projected in 2020 to be 47%, the following year to be around 50%. So this is one source we have. We've also seen some other sources that like over half of online searches for products now start on Amazon. And we see some other really fascinating statistics as well. This is Amazon's revenue from their marketplaces. This is a crazy growth curve. And, but it's, I guess, to be expected, right? If you think, okay, e-commerce is growing very quickly, it's doubled in less than a decade. Amazon's share of those e-commerce sales is growing very quickly. So it makes sense that you would see a growth curve of a company similar to this, right? And we can look at this a few different ways. You know, we could also think, okay, what are the most popular online stores or online e-commerce stores? This was done in 2018, but this breaks out the most popular e-commerce sites by sales. So as you can see, Amazon is about, let's call it over 4 times as big as the next biggest, which would be Walmart. And then it's just significantly bigger than everyone else. So this is like the 800-pound gorilla of the industry. Or a different way you could slice it would be what percent of online e-commerce visits, so visits to the site, what percent does Amazon versus other companies make up? Amazon, 56% of visits to online stores or online marketplaces, 56% are on Amazon. The next biggest by visits would be eBay, then Walmart, and again, you can just see how much smaller everyone else is compared to Amazon, so it really is crazy. So e-commerce is growing fast, still makes up a small share, but is growing very quickly. Amazon is taking over more and more of those e-commerce sales, which is a really very powerful thing. And then of that, you know, they're already by far the 800-pound gorilla, but what's actually most interesting to me about this particular market is that third-party sellers, just like me or just like you, most of them small businesses or entrepreneurs, are taking up more and more of the portion of sales on Amazon. Okay, so E-commerce is going up and to the right in general. Amazon's taking over a bigger and bigger portion of e-commerce every year, and third-party sellers like me or you, not Amazon, but instead third-party sellers selling on their marketplace, is taking up more and more of a portion of those sales. And Jeff Bezos, I think it was about a year ago, wrote a now kind of famous letter to his annual letter to his shareholders, and this made me really excited. You know, his specific quote: "Third-party sales have grown from 3% of the total to 58%. To put it bluntly, third-party sellers are kicking our first-party butt." And for those of you who are unfamiliar with the difference between first-party sales and third-party sales, first-party sales are the sales that are the goods are purchased, owned, and then sold by Amazon, whereas third-party sales are typically smaller sellers and small businesses who are using the Amazon platform to sell their goods through their platform, okay? And we can see from this graph right here, you know, of the sales on Amazon, year over year, third-party sellers are taking over more and more of the sales on Amazon. And this is actually really fascinating to me because if you would have asked me 3 or 5 years ago, I would have guessed that Amazon's business plan was to take over more and more of those sales themselves and push out the little guys. That would have been my projection if I looked into my crystal ball. And just within the past few years, what I've begun to realize more and more through looking at charts like this and through speaking with a lot of people at Amazon is that they've realized that their competitive advantage is their marketplace and the amount of traffic that it has, as well as their fulfillment network, and that by opening this up to third-party sellers, they can actually make more money because it gives them better selection, it's more competitive for the pricing. They still take their commission, of course, on every sale. They fulfill it through their networks, and this is like their competitive advantage versus Walmart and all these other companies. And this is how they're going to succeed, and it's working. Like, you know, you saw the growth of Amazon graph. It is working well. So why that's so cool is because this company that's taking over e-commerce is allowing us, the little guy, entrepreneurs, small businesses, third-party sellers, to take over more and more of their sales and more of their marketplace. So it's a really special thing to be a part of. And I think this truly is an opportunity that we're gonna look back on 20, 50 years from now and just be like, wow, that was in a really incredible time. So it's a really special thing that we can all become part of this. So for those of you who don't understand how essentially the Amazon platform, or more specifically Amazon FBA, works, let me break it down for you a little bit. So Amazon is a marketplace. They sell on their marketplace, and there's also other third parties that sell on their marketplace, okay? So this is it's the platform that all these consumers are going to shop. But not only do they have this online marketplace or this platform, but they've also built this really awesome fulfillment network. So they have warehouses and trucks, and now they have their own boats and their own jets to store, pick, pack, and ship these goods and get it to the customer. So they have the marketplace, they have a really good fulfillment network, the best in the entire world. And they also have a program called FBA, or Fulfillment by Amazon, that allows us as third-party sellers to send our goods into Amazon. They store our goods in their warehouse for us. And then when someone places an order, their robots go and grab the goods and they put it into a box and they ship it now through primarily, I believe, their own trucks and their own aircraft to get it to the end customer. So the reason that this is so cool or the reason that FBA is such an awesome thing for us is because no longer, we want to become e-commerce sellers, and no longer do we have to have our own warehouses to store all of our own goods. No longer do we have to hire warehouse workers to pick, pack, and ship for us. No longer do we have to have our own call centers to be doing the customer support. Instead, Amazon takes care of all this for us. They also already have the customers for us. They're already driving customers to their platform. So really all it is up to us now is to find the right products that are in high demand, get them to Amazon so they can store them at their warehouse. The shoppers are on Amazon, but we'll be thinking about how we're going to optimize and launch our products to make sure we're succeeding on that platform. And then they do most of the kind of the dirty work after that, the pick, pack, and shipping and the customer support associated with that. So this is so cool because it is very scalable. You can do it from anywhere in the world because no longer do we have to have their warehouses that we're worrying about. Amazon's doing all of the fulfillment. We don't have to build or manage our own e-commerce sites and all of the challenges that go along with it. So that really is an incredible opportunity and something that all of us should be extremely excited that we can be a part of. So there's huge potential here. It does, of course, take some smarts, and you're going to learn all of that throughout this boot camp, but it takes some understanding of how to find the right opportunities, how to make sure they're going to sell well, how to launch them well, and some other little tips and tricks that go along with creating a successful business around this. And then I also want to explain to you a few different business models, which I'm going to do in the next lesson. These can be broken down into wholesale, retail arbitrage or online arbitrage, as well as private labeling or white labeling. These are the three different kind of types of business models that I get a lot of questions about. So in the next lesson, I'll dig into each of those three and tell you which one is my favorite. So I'll see you in there.